What's going on, YouTubeites? Welcome again to the CovrPrice Top 10, the best top 11 on the internet. You know why I can say that? Because I don't know of any other top 11 lists. I hope you guys are having a good time. There's a lot of you tailgating in the live chat. So you know how we got to get things lathered up. Here's a little DJ curse for you.
Shake and bake and pull it back.
Oh my God.
Somebody show that fence. Hold on and get some, boys.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's three greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
TV.
Now that's a name I've not heard.
TV.
Back it up. Buzz.
In this, you shall know that the Lord is
Shake and bake and pull it back.
In this, you shall know that the Lord is In this, you shall know that the Lord is
Hold on and get some, boys.
Heck, here's the deal. I'm the best there is.
In this, you shall know that the Lord is
What's in the box?
Like a spider monkey.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Lords of the Long Box real-time analysis of the 2020 presidential debate. Just kidding. Hopefully, we'll give you something to watch while you're not watching that. Saying up to my host, say what's up, Manimal.
What's going on, everyone? Been gone for a little bit. Good to be back, and definitely more interested in doing this than watching that.
I think he's taken over Otto's inmate chamber there with the bear.
Oh, yeah. So to explain my poor video and the bare walls back here, I'm moving here soon. So all this stuff's been packed up and got a new house here in the middle of October. I'm going to be moving into. So,
well, good luck with that. It's one of the least stressful things you could ever do in your life is moving your house and all your stuff. But you know, hopefully you'll find a bunch of stuff that you thought you lost 5 years ago. That's the
it's usually. I also suggest it's something you do right around the time you're also planning a wedding. It's super fun. So,
oh Lord have mercy. Yeah. And speaking of hooked, married, my man Nemesis Prime.
What's going on, everybody? Shout out to everyone checking us out tonight. Like Tim said, you're joining us for the presidential debate instead of what your regularly scheduled programming. So, well, let's do some talking comics tonight. I love it,
man. Shout out to my men Spine Ticks. Go press them or go sub them up. Shout out to the boys from Pressable Defects. We were all tailgating in there earlier. My boy Spine Ticks got a live show. Maybe I'll pop up in there one day. They got me this shirt. If you want me to rock your shirt, just send it to me. I'm a whore that way. I'll pretty much wear anything that you give me. The show is sponsored by our friends over at CovrPrice.com. Go to CovrPrice.com. You can sign up for a 2-week free trial. Or you can sign up for a year and get all kinds of good sales analysis. You could also put all your, basically, it's like CLZ and a price guide in one, man. Go peep it out. Our friends give us this list every week that we give to you. The show is also sponsored by our friends over at Rocket Comics. Hit them up. Tell them the Lord sent you. Get 20% off your first pressing order. Also, the show is sponsored by our friends over at KRScomics.com. Go to KRScomics.com. Use discount code of LOTLB to get 15% off any of those gorgeous KRS Comics exclusives. In the process, I mailed out the winners one package for the grand prize winner today, and then tomorrow I'm going to send out the rest of them. And there's a bunch of KRS Comics goodies in there, and there's also an extra that I got from our friends from Metropolis Comics, Dunes Comics. You guys are going to get each one. It's an exclusive from Saudi Arabia Comic-Con. I'm just throwing that in there for you as a cool little thing to say thank you all. The show is also sponsored by our friends at the Geeky Swag Shop. Go over to geekyswagshop.com. Use discount code of LOTLB. You get the shirts and neck gaiters that you'll probably have to wear for the rest of your natural born lives, because it's just the way things are, man. Shout out to everybody watching. I know the baseball series are on, the NBA finals is coming. And so, you know, what we like to do on the show every Tuesday, we just like to go over a list of the top 11 selling comic books for the week, compiled by about 4 different websites, including Heritage, eBay, Comic Connect, Comic Link, and My Comic Shop. So, we are the few top 10s that actually do real sales data. Shout out to everybody that's also in the live chat. My man Lenny Cerna was in there tailgating earlier, man. Sith Lordly holding down. Comic Man Andy from the Comic Corps. What's going on, my friend? Red Lodge Crow, Swing With Me, Living Room Con, and the list goes on. Roberto Reyes, Johnny Dakota, Victoria Pagak, one of our winners from the 5,000 subs contest, Johnny Dakota. And the list goes on. Azores Tiger, one of the boys from Spine Ticks, Six Face Comics. Shout out to him. Tyler Barnes, Travis Comics, AG Surfer in the house. So let's get right to it, man. There's been a lot of news that's been dropping recently, and we won't cover that. You know, we should start doing a weekly show where we do what the guys from Pressable Defects, what we used to do, go over the weekly news. I will tell you this. There is some stuff that hopefully we're getting this week, if not maybe this weekend, but we got a long-term spec list for the Flash film. That's right. They're finally moving ahead with that thing for, 4 directors now? 2 directors? I have no idea.
Scripts rewritten twice, I think, 3 times the most.
It looks like they're finally moving forward with it, so we may get some
past
stuff.
that scandal.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's 2020 is anything you do will be brushed away because of all the other, just all the craziness that happens on top of it. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, this is a good time for me to release my scandal. You know, it'd probably go underneath the rug. So shout out to our friends over at Comics, Tools, and Toys. Also hit up the Big To Do on Instagram. He's got another mystery box with some really cool goodies in there. So let's get right to it, boys and girls. This is the CovrPrice top 10 as I've worked you guys up there, build it up. Let me get right to it. As always, there's always a book that doesn't quite make the top 10, but it squeezes in there right at 11. And that book today is runner up. Is Amazing Spider-Man number 4. Shout out to Darkside Jedi. Ooh, I wonder if he still has that. But anyway, obviously, like Miles Morales, Silk sales continue to remain strong. Her first full appearance in this issue sold 21 copies, had a 7-day trend of 106%, had a high sale of $349.99 for a CDC 9.8. There is also a variant that was a 9.8 for sale that some scumbag on eBay did not pay for. So we should get his name and put him on blast. So anyway, our man Darkside Jedi had a 9.8 up for sale on there, and the dude just straight up didn't pay for it. What kind of shit is that, man? What has the world gotten into? What happened to the eBay moralities, right? Justin, you got a story about that, don't you? About somebody who says use your 30-day return policy and not pay for a comic book? We'll talk about that some other time. But all right, so number 11, or the runner-up for the list, is The Amazing Spider-Man number 4, the first appearance of Silk. What do we got for number 10, boys?
Ooh, number 10. How about Amazing Spider-Man, the annual, number 16? So after the official WandaVision trailer hit a couple weeks ago after the Emmys, at the 1 minute, 7 second mark, you got some new actress. You got actress of Teyana Paris, you know, seen blowing through the air and then laying on the ground. She's going to be playing Monica Rambeau, who takes on the Captain Marvel persona. And if you guys remember, she was in as a child in the Captain Marvel movie. While it's still unknown if she will take on the superhero role in this series, her first appearance is in this issue, and fanboys have been picking it up and listing it online. But it did sell about 23 copies last week, had a 7-day uptrend of 118%, and a high sale of $409 and a 9.8. It's probably one of those annuals that's actually worth some money for Marvel. You know,
Oh, yeah.
because not too many of them are, especially in the 80s and 90s. There are really no annuals that have first appearances that people care about.
Yeah.
God, dude,
But-
the annuals are such a slog to get through. Too. I hate reading annuals so much.
Because sometimes the annuals are like 4 stories that give you a Silver Age story, and let's just
Right.
highlight this guy and what he had for lunch this day,
It
or
has
some other.
nothing
But
to do with like the story arc that's going on in the current
Nope.
issues either. It's just garbage.
but back in the day, though, annuals actually told a story. If you think about it, there's a lot of FF Annual 6, right? First
Yep.
appearance of Annihilus. There's
Mhm.
the first appearance of supposedly or cameo of Gambit.
Yeah,
in an
Rogue in
annual,
the
so-
Avengers one.
Yeah, you
now
used to have the annuals that were like crossovers. So like the X-Men annuals would all cross over a little bit, but those were
Atlantis
okay.
Attacks annuals, right? I think that was an annual too. But as you're reading this, I'm thinking, she's definitely coming. She's definitely gonna have powers. Why would they tease her as a little girl? Then, and her current iteration, I believe her name is Photon. I mean, Captain Marvel
Mhm.
was back in her days when she had a Jerry curl when she was part of the Avengers. I doubt. There's already a Captain Marvel, but Photon, I mean, poor girl, she's had like 4 different names. But Monica Rambeau, they've been teasing her for a long time now. I guess it just takes something to see a bit of her in the trailer to see where she's coming from. So the number 10 on the list, Amazing Spider-Man number 16, Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 16, the first appearance of Monica Rambeau as Captain Marvel, Photon, and let me go all of her different names. Yeah, Photon, Pulsar, Daystar, Spectre, Lady of Light, Monica Marvel, a Sun Goddess, and Spectrum is her current iteration, I believe. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Spectrum.
He's in the Ultimates. Bring on the Ultimates.
Yeah, Spectrum. There you go. All right, what is number 9?
So number 9 is a lot in common with our number 10. It's another kind of movie spec here and also an Amazing Spider-Man book. We've got Amazing Spider-Man number 361. This one's popped on the radar quite a few times. Obviously, we all know Carnage here, first cover appearance, first full appearance. And everyone's waiting for that Let There Be Carnage trailer for the new Venom movie coming out. We're starting to get kind of tying on with what Tim said. We're starting to get a little bit more information on movies and stuff trickling out now. So who knows? We might see this soon. Sold 25 copies this week, had a 7-day trend of 107%, and had a high sale of $625 for a 9.8.
Just when you thought everybody had a copy, people are still buying it. Like this, like back in the day, everybody was getting this, and it was 359, 360, or 360, or was it 360, 61, and 62? I know there's like a trilogy in this.
1, 2,
era.
and 3. 61, 2, and 3 are the 3 issues for the
Yeah.
Carnage run. Or
It's
story
one
arc.
of those things where everybody should have, because it's like you got to have Cable, you got to have Carnage, you got to have Venom, but we shall see where it goes. I mean, you got to think, in anticipation, it's got to be dropping sooner or later. I mean, hell, I was just thinking about the other day. I was like, man, we haven't seen another Morbius trailer in forever, right?
Yeah, I
We
know.
saw one trailer, and then that was it. It was, have they finished filming? In LA, whenever I watch the 11 o'clock news, because I watch it religiously now, because I want to see what's going on. The most recent stuff is like Hollywood is slowly reopening, and because there's a lot of union stuff involved in all the Hollywood. If you think about, everybody thinks about Hollywood as just the actors, but you got to think about it employs a huge industry of people, like from catering to the guys, the lights, the gaffers, the mic, the sound people. So they're slowly reopening, and if you live in LA or Southern California, you can drive through LA on any given weekend, and you'll see productions everywhere, all over the streets. It's kind of it comes to a point where you're used to seeing it, and it's odd not seeing it on just driving around the streets of LA. So, number 9 on the list, Amazing Spider-Man number 361, the first appearance of your boy Carnage. What do we got for number 8?
Number 8 is another book that just won't leave this list. And I mean, there's not much to talk about. Arana, the Heart of the Spider number 1. I mean, we've been talking about this for 3 weeks in a row. The speculation that the Spider Women or Spider Woman movie that Olivia Wilde's coming out from Sony. But you never know. But the sheer mention of it is enough to drive up sales and prices for this key issue, including the first issue of her ongoing or mini series. It was short-lived solo series. Sold 14 copies last week, had a 7-day uptrend of 199%. With the high sale of $18.99 for a raw copy. Beautiful cover by Mark Brooks, but I don't know if we're going to really see this character in live action, right, Tim?
I will drop the link because I try to find out the genesis of where these come from, and typically they came from somewhere. They don't just pop up from nowhere. Like, remember, we were seeing the real Hulk second printing. It was because some guy on YouTube was speculating on it. And he was just a comic collector, so he didn't even have any real news that it was coming out. People just thought it was cool. Well, this is where that rumor came out of Arana. Arana. It was from Fandom Wire, who's not really known to be movie scoopers, but apparently they said this is an exclusive that they heard. But either way, we know that Olivia Wilde is working on a Spider-Woman project. So I guess everybody snatched up, Jessica Jones and Spider-Woman, or what if number 15, first appearance of Spider-Girl? Why not get this one? So you're all covered. But
any female spider adjacent book.
Exactly. Because that's all it said. It's a female lead spider character. So Arana. Damn it. I keep on saying Arana because of the little thing. You roll the R and then you say Anya. So it's Arana. There you go. Thank you, Doc J.
You don't roll the R. There's only one R.
You always it's Spanish, so you always roll the R.
Yeah, I know it's Spanish. I speak Spanish. It's two R's.
Arana. Arriba. Pendejo. All right. So number 8 on the list is Arana, The Heart of the Spider, which, you know what? 2005, man, this is really early Mark Brooks if you think about it, right?
Oh yeah, it's a completely different side of Mark Brooks. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy. I was looking at this, and I even
this almost looks like Mark McGinnis, or like how they do almost graffiti style.
Yeah, but even he did the Dark Avengers. Oh no, he did Dark Reign Young Avengers, and it's just like completely different than his style now. It's like night and day.
Yeah, he has we always talk about artists who like change. Like one of my favorite artists in the 90s is Stephen Platt.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, from his Moon Knight run to what I saw him do something like 3 years ago, totally different. Obviously the 90s is much kind of different style, but he totally changed it. I mean, I kind of was kind of disappointed. I was expecting like 90s Platt. I didn't like 2000 and 15 Platt, but I guess you gotta evolve as an artist, and some Rob Life don't. So there you go. So number 8, Arana, The Heart of the Spider, number 1 from 2005. What do we got for number 7, man?
So number 7 is pretty cool. This is we're actually going to
pronounce this.
A first appearance here as well from Vault Comics. We got Autumnal number 1.
Autumnal. Okay.
Autumnal. So this is a new Vault Comics horror series by a best-selling author Daniel Kraus. It's under their Vault's Nightfall horror imprint. So this book, honestly, a lot of people, the reason it spiked in prices was because it was really hard to find. It's a little independent publisher and people couldn't find it. Probably big fans of Daniel Kraus's writing. So
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Sales. So it was already increasing. It sold 10 copies, had a 7-day trend of 299%, and had a high sale of $25 for a raw copy. Vault Comics is actually employs quite a bit of science fiction and fantasy writers for their comics as well. Like Brandon Sanderson is a very popular fantasy sci-fi writer who writes for them, and kind of like a new and upcoming little publisher.
This has to be because people who follow Daniel Kraus. If you don't know Daniel Kraus, he is the author who did The Shape of Water, which won an Academy Award for Best Picture. Also, he did Troll Hunters. So I think I'm assuming that means the Troll Hunters, the sci-fi film from Europe, right? Not the animated.
Guillermo del Toro, the animated. It is the animated.
Oh, it is the animated one.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually dig both of them. That's one of the few things I watch. But The Shape of Water was one of my favorite films that came out the year. Really kind of odd, strange, and beautiful at the same time. A woman having sex with a crazy water creature and stuff. But I was hooked on it, man. But it's cool to see a Vault book on here. That's kind of crazy, right? To think
first appearance, baby.
There you go. So Autumnal number 1 is at number 7 on the list. Just came out too. So what do we got for number 6?
We got another indie book, Stillwater number 1 from Image Comics. This landed on the list here at number 6. It's a horror book from Chip Zdarsky, which has some anticipation. The premise is simple. It's a town where nobody dies.
Ooh.
That's freaking awesome. Those who
I don't know about that. Because I get starting getting crowded after a while, you would think.
Well, I mean, if they don't have sex and have kids, and the whole life and death, life goes on type of thing. But those who had trouble finding this in the store turned to online sales, which the online sales have increased this market because nobody really thought this book was going to be something. But did sell 16 copies last week, had a 7-day uptrend of 197%, and did have a high raw sale of $13 online. And
That's crazy, though. A city where no one dies. How do you get rid of your hookers when you're done with them?
Pass them on to your friends.
Just lock them in the basement like everybody else, dog. Come on, man. What's interesting is, I mean, if you were to go to your LCS tomorrow, ask them how many copies they ordered, they probably tell you 8. Or, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times people don't understand the job of a comic book shop owner is to look at the pre-orders that come in. And if nobody asks about them, and, you know, what are they going to order? And they're not going to order double the amount of what people are asking for. Typically, if 8 people ask them, they're going to order 8 of them or 9 or 10 of them. So, you know, that obviously Chips' artists go, I mean, if you think about all the new books that come out, you know, last week we had a book I never heard of, but these two, Daniel Kraus, well-known New York Times bestselling author, and Chip Zdarsky, obviously he has written for, I know, you know, at least Marvel. He wrote for DC too, I think, but he's a pretty
run right now is awesome.
Yeah. So he's a well-known. So when these guys do their own kind of independent books, you know, they kind of get done. Now, who is the publisher of this anyway? I'm trying to look. Oh, it is an Image book. Yeah, I was like, where is it? All the way down at the bottom there. So
yeah, I get that problem with my LCS too, man. Like they won't order independents. Like I literally have to 2 months in advance kind of look at solicitations coming up, and if it's going to be something like, for example, Stillwater 1, I got to be like, hey, 2 or 3 months in advance, will you please order this? Or else he won't. Like he just doesn't.
He'll be like, I got that one book you ordered. I just ordered you one.
Right. If it becomes damaged, I'm effed.
Hey man, but hey, if this gets picked up by Hollywood, boom, it's gonna go through the roof because of the relatively low print run. But you know, we like to support Marvel, DC, and you know, good books when they come out. You know, not everything has to be the first appearance of Corona, but this is actually, if I look at it, this is a Kirkman book. There's a Skybound. There's a Skybound logo on the bottom. So I think with Kirkman behind it, this may have some legs on it. So we'll look out for Stillwater, boys and girls, because you know Robert Kirkman has got the golden buzzer. We're halfway there, boys and girls. What do we have for number 5?
Number 5, we got another Amazing Spider-Man book. We got issue 365. So everyone knows this is going to be the first appearance of Spider-Man 2099. And it's picked up a little bit in the past couple of weeks. So it sold 32 copies, had a 7-day trend of 113%. And had a high sale of $213 for CGC 9.8. So, classic 90s right here.
Let me address the people who left comments since last week. I kind of mocked the person that paid $1,200 for the 9.8 because my thing was in 92, the direct stands weren't nearly as rare. The newsstands weren't nearly as rare, and they argued that it was. And my argument was, well, this was a major milestone issue. This was the 30th anniversary. So because I like to just rub it into people's faces, I go out and I ask for actual numbers. So I reached out to Comic-Con, who gave me the sales data on it. So here we go. I asked them, hey, what is the actual sales data for ASM 365 in regards from newsstand to direct stand? His response was, there were 894 copies of direct market copies of ASM 365, according to Marvel's internal records Comic-Con has on hand. While the newsstand count for that issue isn't available, the breakdown on issue 350, which was another special issue, was around 71% direct market to 24% newsstand and 5% others. So if there was close to, I'm going to just say 900,000, 24% of that is a fucking pretty high print run for a newsstand, if you think about it. So that's what I was saying. Not all newsstand are that rare, you know, because if you think all newsstands are also the same, no, they also made more newsstand when there were special issues. So let's say ASM, I don't know, 369, 372, probably only had 10% newsstand. But when they have a special issue, and this was a special issue, I mean, most collectors going to CGC forums, people talk about it, they had 20, 30 copies of this. This had, if you think about 900,000 copies sold or 1 million, let's just round up to 1 million copies, and there was 24% newsstand. That means there was 240 newsstand ASM 365. So just saying, be careful when you go out there and don't, you know, when people just say it's rare, it's that. I mean, the guy paid $1,200. He may have the money. I'm saying it's not worth $1,200. It may be to him, but I think the market, that was a market spike. It's not going to be the norm. So there you go. We shall see. Because really, what does this issue have going on? It's the first Spider-Man 2099, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it the first appearance of Brock's parents too, or somebody else? I'm trying to think. Somebody. No, that's it.
Yep,
that's all it really is. So, it's a cool book to have. There's a lot of all 4 or 5 of the Spider-Man titles in that month came out with a special hologram cover. So it is a tough nut to crack in a 9.8 for a newsstand, but I don't know if it's $1,200 worth. So we'll see. We'll see as time goes by, as more people start. Because when I see this, that tells me more people are buying these and more people are going to get them graded. You know what I mean? So we'll see. Because when I looked in like just regular census, there's like 900 to 1,000 9.8s in an Amazing Spider-Man 365, and I'd have to ask somebody from CDC if they could tell me what the breakdown for newsstand registry census is. But just be careful. We like to warn you guys sometimes. If you see somebody, I don't want to see somebody spending $12 of their hard-earned money just to get a newsstand. If you think it's super rare and it's not even it's over 100,000 print run, which nowadays 100,000 would make a top 10 list. But number 5 on the list, Amazing Spider-Man number 365. What do we got for number 4? Look at that. Justin gets them both.
I know. We got another spider book. So Amazing Fantasy number 1, the 2004 series, Arana's first appearance in this issue, which continues to sell.
Hold on, man. Let me give a shout out to Living Room Con for the $5 super chat. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. We haven't got a super chat in so long. I appreciate it. I had disabled them for a while, but appreciate you, brother. Go ahead, Justin.
So Arana's first appearance sold 39 copies last week, had a 7-day uptrend of 135%, with a new high sale in a CGC 9.8 of $459. But as we mentioned at the number 8 spot with Arana's Heart of the Spider, it's doubtful that we'll see her in the film, in a Spider-Woman film, but we'll just have to wait and see. I will tell you that if you follow me on my eBay page, same name, I have a big lot of Amazing Fantasy up for sale. Just saying.
There's a lot of first appearances in that Amazing Fantasy run, so you never know. Probably King of Golden State is going to buy up your stuff right now and lowball you or something. But let's just put our critical hats on for thinking and think about all the prominent Spider Women adjacent characters that there could be. And Arana would not be on the top 4. I'm telling you, that what if, I don't know why that what if issue, the first appearance of Spider-Girl, is not on here. Like, remember that book was hot for a minute?
Yeah.
It's on Mayday Parker, right?
Mayday Parker, yeah.
Correct.
Why her? Why Jessica Jones and nobody's tripping on Mayday Parker? Because that's a pretty rare book too, because the What Ifs did not have a huge print run, but we shall see if it's on here next week. But it's been holding strong for a while now. So, but like I said here, I'll let you guys make your own determination. We found the source of the actual rumor, and it's from Find'em Wire, so not very well known for their scoops. So we'll see. They even say take it with a grain of salt, but you never know. If you find it, buy it up, or go over to Justin's eBay page and snatch it up now. How many in your lot?
I think I have like 1, 2, 3, like 7, 8, 9,
15?
10, 11. Yeah, well, like probably like 10 different issues in that run. But I have like first Arana, I have second appearance, I have first Scorpion is in there, which was on this list.
You have like 2 weeks ago. Cho though.
No, I don't.
You bastard! You're one of those guys that sell the lots, and you're like, oh, all of them except for the one I wanted. All right, so number 4 on this is Amazing Fantasy number 1 from 2004. All right, man, we have to do Arana books as Donny Cates over under next time, or actually looks like
joke, right?
Or Spider-Man books. If you think about it, before, remember we were doing like Cates and Venom adjacent books.
Yeah,
well, Spider-Man is looks like Spider-Man is making a comeback. Good for Peter Parker. But speaking of which, boom, lands on perfect person for this book. What do we got for number
3? So,
all right, number 3. Sorry, I'm like, I couldn't see my font is so small. There you go. Number 3 on the list is Zach.
Open the list there for a second.
Yeah.
So number 3 is a cool one. I know it kind of came up last week as well, but we got X-Men number 12. As you guys know, I'm a massive X-Men fan, and this is kind of what you would call like a prologue into the Ten of Swords storyline that's coming up. This issue is pretty hot. It features the first appearance of a bunch of the summoners, new characters, Iska the Unbeaten, the White Sword. It shows close-ups of Genesis, Apocalypse's wife, and his 4 horsemen a little bit closer, and as well as the High Summoner there on the cover for the first time. It dropped a little bit this week, sold 53 copies, had a 7-day trend of 105%, and had a high sale of about $19 for a raw copy. The thing about this book, though, if there's any trends that are, or these trends that are continuing, is there might be some competition with this in terms of a previews book that recently came out for X-Men previewing Ten of Swords. And a lot of these characters showed up in that previews book. So
what? What
Yeah.
which previews bit?
I got it, but I'd have to check
Does the first issue have any first appearances? Because I got a couple of the first Cross of Swords #1, the one that came out last week.
It has some, yeah, I think so. I can't remember exactly who else in it. You get a little bit close up more of the Four Horsemen, the original Four Horsemen, but they've already shown up as well in New Comic Book Day.
Oh boy!
But I think the Marvel preview is actually got some, so we'll see. These characters, if they have legs, who knows what'll happen with this crazy environment we're in.
So is it 10 of Swords, X of Swords, or Cross of Swords?
10 of
okay,
swords.
so it's 10 of Swords because of the 10 swords held by the 10 mutants, right?
Yes, and to play on tarot card.
Oh my God. Man, Hickman is on some another level shit where
it's just like House of X and it was Powers of 10. So a lot of people thought House of X, Powers of X, but it's Powers of 10. So but it's a play on the tarot card 10 of Swords.
Yeah, Hickman is like the antithesis of Cates, where Cates is just like single syllable words and boom pows, and then Hickman is like let me dissect this paragraph for a good 30 minutes here. What did you just say? I shit you not. On Hickman runs, I've read through a comic and I said, wait, I think I need to read this again. I think I missed something.
The Infinity or Avengers titles, and also, man, is anyone out there besides me reading Decorum and have any idea what the fuck is going on?
Oh, it's the same thing as his starting House of X and Powers of X. You have to read every little thing in between. That's not even part of the comic to understand the world.
It's insane. Like, what is there, 4 or 5 issions out there? I don't even know. I still barely have
I think I'm at. Yeah.
So I got to know Braille and hieroglyphics to understand it. That's like, because I remember you were telling me when Powers of X and the X-Men thing come out, and you were like, make sure you read the glossary and those little. I said, really? Shit, I'm like 3 issues. I skipped all of that shit. I'm supposed to read all of that. I was like, all right.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how all the X titles are. Like, you'll have a page of a dialogue. So like in X-Force, you'll have a diary page from Beast, and it'll be almost like an email.
Oh Lord! But I'm sorry, his Avengers run is one of my favorites, and his FF Future Foundation run is. I mean, that is really heady too, because when he goes cosmic and starts talking about stuff, man, it's way out there. But good to see what he's doing, because I will tell you this: what I've been told in terms of what they want to do with X-Men in the movies is Claremont, Byrne, and Hickman for X-Men. So if you think about that, so they're going to take some of the classic stories from Claremont and Byrne and the modern storytelling of Hickman, right? So if you think about Claremont and Byrne, it was great for its day. I don't know, maybe it can't be adapted nowadays. It's a little too simple, and Hickman is a little too far out there. Maybe a fine meeting in between the two, I think, is a good bet. But, it's a good way to tell where they're going, because right now, if you think about it, people keep on forgetting Feige is the head of Marvel Comics. He may not be there every day type making decisions, but if he wants an overall narrative where he thinks something should go, Feige is going to chime in. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. Number 3 on the list is X-Men number 12 from 2020. We're almost there, boys and girls. What do we got for? Wow, look at this. Another small indie book.
Yeah, this is awesome. You had a video game comic that makes it the top 3. So Cyberpunk 2077, Trauma Team #1 from Dark Horse Comics. We all know that most of these video game comics usually end up blowing up years later. We'll talk about like The Last of Us. But with the anticipation around this Keanu Reeves-centric game, which is set to release maybe coming out in November of this year. It's been pushed back about 4 times right now. I've been waiting for it forever. But it's got a lot of heat that's brought to this comic with the trend of video games retaining significant value over the long term. Like I said, this first issue sold 24 copies last week, had a 7-day uptrend of 274% and a high sale of $20 for a raw copy. There was a limited edition variant that was limited to 300 sets, which came with the exclusive variant cover. It was a really cool pink cover. It's completely different, and it did come with an 11x14 print, which only costed $50 if you would have bought it on release day or through the website. But now that thing has gone all the way up to $580 on eBay. So I did read the first issue. I mean, it's really not anything. It's setting up the world for Cyberpunk. It's really about a trauma team and, them rescuing people. But I don't really think it's going to have anything to do past that with the video game other than creating the world. I don't think you'll have like first appearance of any of these characters who are going to be showing up in the video game like you had with The Last of Us or any other type of video game that's had, God of War with Kratos, So
yeah, there's a ton of comic books based off of video game properties. So, number one may get hot, but as it goes on and on and on, you never know. But then again, if you think about the Miles Morales was all over our list right when the game was announced. So who knows? It could be the new trend of what collectors are doing. Sometimes you just got to follow the trends to see where they're going to kind of predict what's happening. So, all right, number 2 on the list is Cyberpunk 2077 Trauma Team number 1. And number 1 on the list, speaking of following trends, if you've been watching The Lords, you should know about this book.
Yeah, this one we got Ms. Marvel number 13 from 2015. And like Tim said, if you watched long-term spec on Ms. Marvel properties, this character was going to show up. So it's been rumored that 2 characters, Red Dagger and Cameron, not the rapper.
Cameron, the rapper. Yeah, Cameron. Yeah.
Cameron, the rapper. Cameron, who ends up being an Inhuman as well, are set to appear in the Ms. Marvel series. While the news circulated last week, it actually goes back to a month ago when leaked casting calls matched the look of the 2 listed characters above. With that being said, Cameron's first appearance is in this issue and landed the number 1 spot this week by selling 13 copies at a 7-day trend of 794% and had a high sale of about $25 for a raw copy.
I remember we first talked about this, and I joked that he looked like Iceman.
And we had to do a lot of research because we're like, who
exactly
the hell is this character?
So it's Ms. Marvel number 13, and there's the variant in the middle. And this is a screenshot from our actual live show we did on June 17th when we had a long-term spec for the Ms. Marvel characters. And there's been word around the campfire is the casting for Ms. Marvel will be announced sooner than later. They're moving a lot of stuff with Disney Plus now since the movies, if you notice, they got pushed back. The Black Widow's pushed back to May of 2021. So that gives us more time that we could spend on the Disney Plus projects. So I would expect all those projects we've been talking about, the She-Hulk, Moon Knight, WandaVision, we already talked about that trailer dropping, and Monica Rambeau. So go look back on June 17th for our long-term spec list for MCU Disney series, where we drop some first appearances for the She-Hulk show, Ms. Marvel, and just mutants in general. It was a very interesting list that we got of characters being researched. And sure enough, one of them has hit. So number 1 on the list, boys and girls, is Ms. Marvel number 13 from 2015. And there's 2 characters first appearance on that, right? It's Cameron and Red Dagger.
And this should be dollar bin, baby. You should be able to find these. This is an all new Marvel imprint.
Ms. Marvel is hard to find nowadays. People have been buying that thing up for a while. Yeah, I don't see any of the Ms. Marvel books. There is a market for it. Obviously young boys and girls digging it and stuff like that. But did I say stuff like that? I did. All right, let me go back on the screen. So there you go, man. So that's a fun list. Interesting is last week we had a bunch of DC. Oh, we had no DC books this week. I just thought about that.
Yeah.
Probably because there hasn't been a new Robin King book, right?
Yeah, or new first appearance of some character that'll show up in some Batman.
There's going to be coming up. What is it? I think after Joker War, they've already said they've got a solicitation for a new character. So be ready.
Ghostmaker.
There you go. Get the 1 in 20 variant to be on there, or look for the designer variant, right? The one thing I like about this show is you get to see trends, right? If there's a designer variant that pops up, just nab it, because the last 2 designer variants that came out have been on this list. Or if you see any of those other books. So sometimes we can find where the genesis of the rumors comes from, like the Phantom Wire. We found the Arana story and the Cameron story. A lot of these are people get production notes for casting, and then that makes the books pop. So we try to cover it as much as we can on here. So like I said, our man Mike Sutton is working on getting us a long-term spec list for the Flash series. So that should be exciting. Or excuse me, the Flash movie, not the Flash series. Also, rest in peace, Supergirl. The show is ending.
Oh God, it was. That's so funny. I was just talking about that with my girl the other day about the CW shows and how they became unwatchable after Crisis. I feel like.
Well, yeah, because I think Crisis was so good. That's why. I was even watching Crisis. Then after that, they took away CW from my cable package, so I didn't even watch it at all.
Supergirl was kind of unwatchable for a while.
The only thing from CW I'm waiting is for the last season of Supernatural. That's it.
I know. That comes back in October. Dude, it's got to come out this week, I think. Next week.
I thought it was October. Holy shit! This next week is October. Holy shnikes! Right. Yeah, I saw the trailer for it, and I gotta admit, man, maybe a little emotional. As soon as I hear that Kansas carry on my wayward son, I'd be like, oh man.
Sam and Dean hopefully riding off into the sunset.
Sam and Dean don't give a fuck about the world. They care about each other. Let the world burn as long as save my brother's keeper, right? That's what I always love about Sam and Dean. Are like, I save my brother or fuck the world. I'm gonna save my brother. And we'll see what we can do about
definitely.
the world. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to that, man. You know, because typically fall or autumn is when the new season of TV comes, and with everything kind of the way it is, we haven't had those typically new shows debut because they figure, you know, more people are at home. It's the winter months, but this whole year has been really weird. So I have like, but I will tell you what I just saw, which was pretty good, and it's comic book related adjacent. Utopia on Amazon is a fucking dark ass show. It's about these group of kind of or I guess you can call them conspiracy theorists. And there's a rare comic that finds out that there's a certain small segment of collectors that read the comic for clues on what they think is people engineering the end of the world. Yeah. So it's called Utopia. And as comic book geeks, we kind of know all the personalities in it because they go to something called Fringe Con, right? And so they all dress up and everything. Because I've been binging like everything I can, and when sports on. I finished Mythic Quest on Apple TV, which is awesome. It's from the guys that did It's Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah. It's basically The Office meets Silicon Valley. It's a office setting for game developers make a game called Mythic Quest, and it's from the dudes from It's Sunny in Philadelphia. And I did there's another Apple show. Apple TV has some really good shows, but there was two geek related things that are on Apple TV, and then Utopia, which is new on Amazon, that I'm watching. So, you know, gotta watch something, and go check out Unknown Origins. I can't tell you guys how good that movie is. It's in Spanish and it's in English. I dropped my review a couple of days ago. Go peep it out. It is one of the best pure comic book movies I've ever seen. It's Batman meets Seven meets Fanboys meets something else, but it's that good. It's dark. It's an origin story. It's very Batman-ish, very Seven-ish. It's funny yet dark and violent. Go peep it out. It's on Netflix. I can't recommend it high enough. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was super surprised when I saw it. I was like, wow, this is on Netflix, but it was originally released in Spain. That's why it didn't get much play here in the States. Go check it out on Netflix. It's called Unknown Origins, or Orígenes Secretos. Anyway, any last words, Manimal?
Nope. Glad to be back, and you'll have to bear with me a couple weeks in this bare ass room, probably. But
it's Auto 1.0.
Yeah. The view will get better as the month of October goes on, hopefully.
Yeah. Any last words, Nemesis Prime?
Just head up to 3 Men in a Basement. We had a live show last 2 weeks ago, but we had a couple of videos dropped over the past couple of days. I'll be dropping a video in 2 days for my Connecticut comic book weekend that I had. Instead of the comic swap didn't occur, but I was still up there with all the guys. Pressable Defects crew was there, and a bunch of the rest of the guys. So that's about it. That's all I got. Good show tonight, guys. Thanks everybody for joining us. Now get over there and watch some political bullshit.
All right, yeah. Or you can watch baseball playoffs. So you can go watch that. So we got a ton happening. Actually, baseball playoffs and the NBA finals. But
yeah,
we will see you real soon. If I get the flash, a long-term spec list, we'll try to drop it this week. If not, we will see you guys next week. Until next time, boys and girls, keep digging in them long boxes. Peace out.
Now let's do this. Rewind, select, and come again. Pull up that from the top to the very last. Jump.
Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? In this you shall know that the Lord is faithful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it. We're here. We're back. Word up. Let's do a job. You can't get fresher than this.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 5 greatest heroes. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
When it comes, I won't even notice.